Welcome to the King of Iron Fist tournament, where fighters and martial art masters come from across the globe and fight for their personal vendettas, goals, and for their own ambitions. Today, our guest will be the first DLC character of Tekken 8, Eddy Gordo, a figure of rhythm and vengeance, a fan favorite, and one of the most iconic fighting game characters of all time. From his explosive debut in Tekken 3 to his latest appearance in Tekken 8, Eddy's journey is not just about kicks and flips. Eddy mesmerized its fans with his flowing dreadlocks and groovy fighting style. But who is Eddy Gordo? And why did he step into the King of Iron Fist tournament? I'm Arcadenaut here, and today, starting from Eddy Gordo's background story to his journey in each Tekken title, we'll unravel the journey of this Capoeira prodigy, from his tragic beginnings to his quest for justice and redemption across the King of Iron Fist tournaments. Eddy Gordo's tale is a compelling journey of loss, mastery, and unwavering dedication. Born into one of Brazil's wealthiest families, Eddy's life took a devastating turn when his father, a man on a mission against Brazil's drug cartels, was murdered. Ever since he was a small boy, he knew he would one day take over the family business. He was well liked in his hometown because he was a hard worker who treated others as his equals. Eddy's father's untimely death occurred just when he had obtained enough evidence to put the kingpins away for good. And in his last breath, Eddy's father told him now is not the right time to fight, falsely admit to the crime and hide in prison. Only there you will be safe. Eddy went along with his father's last wish, and the model student went from a life of luxury to incarceration as a murderer. Left with his father's dying wish, Eddy falsely confessed to the crime, plunging from luxury to the harsh reality of prison. It was in these dire circumstances that Eddy encountered his destiny. A chance meeting with an old man who introduced him to Capoeira. This old man, later known as Christie's grandfather, reshaped Eddy's fate, turning him into a master of this dance-like martial art. One day, during a prison riot, he watched this old man with great power fight using a technique he called Capoeira. For 8 years, Eddy practiced until he became a master and could be considered as a lethal weapon. After 8 years, Eddy was released from prison, and around that time, he kept his promise to the old man from the prison to teach Capoeira to his granddaughter, Christy. As this event would also develop Eddy's character and also a brother-sister-like relationship with Christy. It is around that time Eddy heard about the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3 and the Mishima financial empire. At that time, Eddy decided to enter the tournament, believing that he could persuade the Mishima Corporation to help him seek his long-awaited revenge. He was determined to fight the killer of his father. Smelling an opportunity to track down his father's killers, Eddy jumped into the fray, bringing his Capoeira A game to the world stage in 1997 with Tekken 3. Eddy wasn't just about punches and kicks. It was Eddy's chance to use Zaibatsu's resources to bring the drug cartel to its knees with his stylish, groovy fighting style and catchy theme music. His fighting style, Capoeira, is as much a dance as it is a martial art. Originating from African slaves in Brazil, it is known for its fluid, acrobatic movements, making Eddy one of the most unique fighters in Tekken roster. His move list is a spectacle of spins, kicks and acrobatics, making him both unpredictable and formidable in the ring. During his arcade story, we see a limo roll up to a mansion and a man stepping out, possibly connected to the drug cartel Eddy's father was attempting to take down. As Eddy watches the man's movements from a window, He suddenly breaks into man's mansion, taking out his security guard and then interrogating the man on the floor. The drug lord points Eddy to a desk, revealing that Kazuya Mishima could be his father's killer or the person responsible for the murder. Keeping his word to his old mentor, Eddy trained Christy to make her a capoeira guru, and their bond was more than just a teacher-student, they were family united by a dance of destiny. However, as Eddy dove deeper into his quest for revenge, he vanished, leaving Christy to follow in his footsteps into the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Bearing the move list of Eddy, Christy Monteiro took the Capoeira Master's mantle and placed in the roster to find Eddy. The King of Iron Fist tournament raged on without Eddy, with Christy carrying his master's legacy into the ring. Christy's participation was a testament to the bond shared between mentor and prodigy, a bond forged in the rhythm of capoeira and strengthened by the shared trials. During her arcade ending, Christy claims victory after defeating Heihachi Mishima, but her triumph is overshadowed by her longing to find Eddy. The crowds, the cheers and the glory faded into the background as her eyes searched for the one person who meant more to her than any title. And then, amidst the sea of faces, a moment suspended in time. Eddy, with a sling on his arm, appears before Christy. Christy's embrace met with Eddy as a poignant yet warm reunion. While Eddy was drowning in his quest for revenge, he faced a new challenge: his master's dire health condition. After years of imprisonment, the old man who had taught Eddy the art of capoeira was finally free, but freedom came with a cruel twist. His master was not the robust mentor Eddy remembered, but he had become a frail old man, battling a terminal illness, forcing both Eddy and Christy into finding a cure that might lie within the advanced technology of the Mishima Zaibatsu. This glimmer of hope ignited a new fire within Eddy. The King of Iron Fist Tournament 5 was not a tool for his revenge, but it was a lifeline, a chance to save his mentor. Thus, with a heavy heart and a clear purpose, both Eddy and Christy entered the tournament. Although Christy appears as a member of the main roster, sharing the same epilogue with Eddy, they have different prologue cutscenes, with Christy focusing on her relationship with her grandfather and Eddy's focusing more on his determination to find the cure. In contrast to Tekken 4, this time Eddy is accessible to play when the customization is purchased with 500k of in-game currency and then picked through Christy during the character selection menu. As with the end of the arcade story, we see Christy and Eddy waiting outside the operating room. When the doors finally opened, the narrative transitioned to a serene setting, where Eddy and Christy were joined in a dance of capoeira by the fountain. Their movements were a celebration of life and legacy. The arrival of Eddy's master, stepping in to spar with Christy, was a poignant symbol of the cycle of mentorship and the enduring spirit of capoeira. However, this ending of Eddy and Christy is not canon, as Eddy's search for cure takes him to work under Jin Kazama in Tekken 6. In the aftermath of Tekken 5, with no victory and his master's life hanging by a thread, Eddy found himself before Jin Kazama, the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Jin, aware of Eddy's desperation, offered a bargain: Eddy's service in the Tekken force in exchange for his master's treatment. This decision was a pivotal moment for Eddy, forcing him into a role that starkly contrasted with his own moral compass. To save his master's life, Eddy was ready to forfeit the lives of many, yet the chance to save his mentor's life was a glimmer of hope he couldn't ignore. Thus, Eddy stepped into the shadows of the Tekken force, embarking on a journey that would see him carry out missions of destruction worldwide in the name of a cure that seemed increasingly like a mirage. And quickly, Eddy found himself in the crosshairs of global conflict, executing orders that sowed chaos, all while grappling with the internal conflict of his actions against his values. When Jin Kazama declared the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6, Eddy entered not as a free fighter but as a soldier under Jin's command, aiming to protect the Zaibatsu and, by extension, Jin from any threats that might arise. During the story mode of Tekken 6, Eddy's journey reached a critical juncture when he encounters Lars Alexanderson and Alisa Boskonovich, characters who represented a burgeoning resistance against the Mishima Zaibatsu's tyranny. Eddy, bound by his promise to Jin, found himself opposing those who sought to dismantle the very organization he had become a part of. However, as we clear the arena with Eddy, we are welcomed with a tragic sight. Standing in a graveyard beside Christie, confronted with the death of his master and the toll of his decisions. Eddy faced the ultimate consequences of his pact with Jin. Christie's grief and palpable sense of betrayal led to a moment of rupture, symbolized by Eddy tearing off the Tekken 4 pin, a silent vow to forge a new path. Losing his master and as well as his dignity, Eddy Gordo grasps on the burning hatred he used to have. Unfortunately, Eddy's Tekken 7 narrative is quite anticlimactic, fueled by the burning desire for vengeance that has driven him since his debut. This time the narrative faces Eddy not against Kazuya Mishima but against Lucky Chloe. Although Eddy heads directly into the headquarters of the G Corporation, he was challenged by an unexpected guardian. Lucky Chloe, a pop idol with a fighting style as unique as Eddy's own. Her challenge, "You are not getting past me, old man," adds a layer of mockery, and in my opinion that Eddy never deserved to have actually. Victorious against Lucky Chloe, Eddy demands for Kazuya's whereabouts, and the note handed him by Chloe bearing only a crude drawing with the word "here," again a mockery of his quest, a seemingly futile end to his pursuit. Eddy's reaction, a mix of anger and determination, ends his journey, leading to his appearance in Tekken 8. As with the newest update, Eddy Gordo has joined the roster of Tekken 8 with renewed animations and a further developed move list. With his new stances of Bananera and Negativa, he can quickly overwhelm his opponents with his old and renewed mix-up moves. Also earning Mandinga install that enables further moves for Eddy to use. And to be honest, he seems more like a true Capoeira master than before, playing the traditional Brazilian string instrument called berimbau before and after his battles. Eddy Gordo seems to temper his hatred and desire for revenge with his calm and collected appearance, just like how Capoeira and berimbau disguise their deadliness with music and rhythm. Eddy Gordo's journey is a vivid tapestry of vengeance, family and struggle set against the backdrop of a rhythmic dance of Capoeira. From the tragic love of his father to the dark corners of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Eddy's path has been fraught with challenges that tested his spirit, his loyalty, and his dedication to those he holds dear. Yet, amid these trials, Eddy's story is one of the remarkable resilience, a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity through strength, determination, and the healing grace of Capoeira. Eddy steps onto the Tekken not just as a fighter seeking revenge, but as a Capoeira master who has honed his craft to perfection. Along with his protege Christy Monteiro, Eddy Gordo seems to teach the art of freedom to the next generation. Thank you for joining me on today's video. Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated. I planned future FGC content already with more character guides and story videos in the future. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord channel. And of course, stay tuned for more.